Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about 10 Years of Lies. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Oh, this one, can I just say, at the end of the story after reading, I was just like, damn. Like, you let out a huge sigh. You're like, that was heavy. Okay, so I'm gonna just warn you guys, this is heavy. You feel it. Get your snacks, get your drinks. This is a 15-page story, so it's a long one. Hi, Pathra. I am sad to announce I have my own very fresh cup of drama tea to bring to the table. The outcome of this just happened this week, so it is very recent. It is a story about someone that I gamed with for 10 years. And met up with IRL, who turned out to be a fraud and a con artist. It is the biggest betrayal of my life, and I hope others can find a warning in my sharing this story. See? Dude, you have to listen to this whole story. It is wild. It's gonna take you for the biggest ride ever. Okay, you know that drama story that was being passed around, Who the F Did I Marry? You remember that? This is the version of that for Final Fantasy XIV. Okay? 10 years ago, I was 24, living with my boyfriend of 2 years at the time. Our relationship was very rocky though, and in those rocky times, the heart can be tempted to stray. And boy, did I go astray. I met a guy, let's call him Avery. We really hit it off, and before I knew it, I was deeply in love with him. This scared me because even though my IRL relationship was not great, I wasn't intending to fall for someone else. I discussed this with my IRL partner, and they were upset and disappointed to see I had feelings for someone else. But we decided to patch things up and move on from it and stay together. Avery was from the USA and I am from Europe. I did not believe that a long-distance relationship with someone from the other side of the world was going to be ideal, and I figured I had a case of the grass is always greener. So I blocked Avery to try to focus on my real-life relationship. We tried to make it work, but it was just getting worse and worse. And so after several months, I unblocked Avery to see if we could still be friends. Of course, he said. I will always stand by you. My home diddly squiddly widdly. I'd be kind of concerned if someone said that to me. Everyone's like, what? What did he just say? What did he just say? Let me repeat it. I will always stand by you, my home diddly squiddly widdly. We just hit it off again, immediately. The more time we spent together, the more we realized that there was still something there. And again, I could not pursue it nor want to commit to pursuing it because of my IRL relationship. Even if that relationship was not great, it was still the man I lived with. Having been cheated on before, I did not want to do that to anyone, and I was dancing a very fine line here, already knowing that what I was doing was not entirely fair. So once again, after finding I could not just be friends with Avery, I broke off all contact. It was for the best. We both had to just move on, but deep down, I thought that Avery was my one and only. You can see here that OP is like, no, I'm committed to my relationship. But deep down, they feel like Avery, their friend online, is for them. This back and forth emotional struggle went on for years. Me not wanting to cheat versus me missing my friend. The connection I had with Avery was so special. It had me overcome with butterflies to the point I could hardly stand up straight. Weak in the knees was an understatement. I knew that I could never just be friends with him, yet yearned for the connection we had with everything else. The biggest issues for me were that my IRL partner did not play the same games I did not enjoy the content I played, and he did not agree with me on many things. His views on morality, politics, and parenting were all contrary to mine. We just did not match at all. Why we let it drag on for so long, I don't know. People get comfortable. That's it. Yeah. When you get comfortable, it gets very hard to leave, and people don't like change. But with Avery, all those things that made me me, he felt the same way about. I started playing Final Fantasy XIV and mentioned this to Avery. Avery said he had been playing this for 10 years and would love to play together. So of course we did. And it was awesome. Okay, so they met from a different game before, but now they're starting to play Final Fantasy XIV together. And Avery was like, dude, I've been playing that game for so long already. Yes, please play with me. He made a character on the EU servers because he was from NA. He arrived and my FC adored him. Everything seemed great. There are things about Avery that I want to tell you, but I must insert a trigger warning. This next part includes sensitive topics, including jail time and crime. Oh my god. Yeah. Trigger alert. Avery had a rough life. He told me that his father had unalived his mother when he was still a baby. That's horrible. He grew up in his grandmother's house with his dad in prison. His dad was released around the time we met. He confided in me about how he struggled with this and how living with just his grandmother, he grew up in an abusive household. My heart ached for him. As I got to know him over a period of several years, I could see how much he had grown and became a well-balanced person, or so I thought. He would always tell me, "You could leave and block me and go away for months again, OP. It won't matter. I will wait for you. You are the only person I have ever loved, and I can only see myself with you. I will wait for you forever." Damn. After nearly 10 years of this, I realized I could no longer fix things with my IRL partner. In my heart, I could not see myself marrying him, having kids with him, having a life with him. And so finally, I was in a place where I was financially stable enough to not rely on his safety and broke up with him. My now ex moved out, and within 2 weeks, I was finally alone. Finally ready to spend my life with Avery. I mean, these are exciting times for OP. They're like, dude, they wanted to actually pursue things with Avery for a long time. So now we're gonna see how it goes. Avery and I had been playing Final Fantasy XIV together, and let me tell you, he is an absolute god at the game. He did every kind of content there was. Grinding Baja, done it. All fishing achievements, check. The mount from the firmament grind, he had it. Every single ultimate that was out, he had cleared between 20 to 50 times. He knew everything. From stupid side content to ultimates and everything in between. It was like gaming with a personal wiki. Someone who could show you exactly how to do it, and for an added plus, he was amazing to be around. Okay, he knows everything about the game. He's done it all. We would frequent RP bars together and eventually bought our own house. Decorating it was the most exciting thing ever. He told me how excited he was to one day decorate a house IRL with me. Avery was a homeowner IRL too. I was excited beyond measure. I felt so happy that I had a boyfriend who wasn't just good at one thing in the game, but who excelled at everything. And he had so much gil, my god. Several accounts with capped gold. He used to play on NA servers because he is from the USA, but casually transferred to an alt to EU with like 300 mils so we could play together. And he abandoned most of his NA game time to just play with me. Damn, how does he have so much money in the game? That's a lot. Did he buy that? What? Or did he earn every single penny? I was in heaven. He constantly wanted to buy me things, but I refused most of them. I let him buy me the Echovore minion for Christmas, and he pitched in on some utility stuff like crafting me crafter's gear. But I tried not to take advantage of this because I liked it better when I can earn my own way in life. He appreciated my mentality on this, saying that he used to play with people that would ask him to buy a house for them, which he then did. We postponed buying our house in lavender beds because I wanted to earn at least half of it. But it was taking kind of a long time. Avery had found a nice plot, so he went and purchased it anyway. The placard said, Avery and Opie's home. He said that all his gil was mine too, and that we shared everything. The gil was on his side, and I never asked him to let me hold some mills or whatever. When I was low on gil, he would say, want me to send you some? And I'd decline. For some of the RP alts we made together, I did let him buy me some glam stuff. I can say, honestly, that I never took advantage of this. We spent all our free time together, calling 24/7 on Discord and hanging out in-game. Life was great. We got bonded naturally, in front of a select group of friends. We shared vows. Avery's vow made me cry. These were the most beautiful words anyone had ever said to me. I will share these vows here because of the irony of them that came to light over a year later. So bear with me here, or swoon like I did, because they are truly some top tier vows. Okay, oh my god, the vows! He said, OP, I couldn't have imagined the best gift of my life is standing right before me. Who would have thought that a simple encounter in a ridiculous game would lead to my happiest moments? We find so much joy in each other just sitting in silence because both of us are smiling. Things haven't always been easy, but we have been there for each other through our greatest highs and most difficult lows. I am so blessed to have been a part of your life through it all, which as of today becomes our life together. I still remember the first time we spoke. I was so nervous I felt like I was stuttering over my words. We have made so many wonderful memories and share beautiful moments, and I can only imagine how many more we will make in the years to come. I promise to spend every day I have showering you with zealous, infinite love and faithful commitment. I promise to encourage your dreams and to celebrate the joy of every moment with you. And finally, I promise to support you and stand by your side through life's most joyous and challenging moments. You are my best friend, my lover, and I'm so proud that as of today, I'm privileged enough to call you my wife. I adore you, I cherish you, and most importantly, I love you. As I stand before you, I'd like to make one final announcement. OP, zippity zappity, I'ma make that ass clappity. That was the ending. In front of all our greatest friends, he pledged eternal love and commitment to me. And even rewriting this from the screenshot that I saved makes me cry. The hurt I still feel after the betrayal I am about to share is beyond measure. Okay, just think of it this way. If you were in love with a person, they said that to you, it might sound very great. It might, sounds amazing. But because we have no attachment to this person and we're hearing that out of the blue, it definitely sounds probably a little cringe, okay? This guy just cooked. Yeah, let the guy cook. So now, we were in a full-on long-distance relationship and planning to finally be together. I was so happy that I could finally be with the man that waited for me for all those years. I said I didn't even care if he had a relationship in the meantime because I did too, with my ex for years, and he knew of this. He said, no, I have never seen a person that made me feel even remotely like you do. You are my world, my everything. So Avery basically said, like, He's never been with anyone and he was just waiting for OP. Pro tip for the basement Romeos. Never let one person be your whole world, because if they leave, that world crumbles. Please, listeners, make sure that when you date someone, they can add to your happiness, but never become the sole reason for your happiness. Nobody but you yourself can be held responsible for your survival in life. Just a quick tip from OP. Haha. Yeah, I mean, that's a little concerning to me. If this Avery guy was like, yeah, no, I was in no relationship, I'm just waiting for you, OP, for years. Like, this is what, several years? Isn't that a little concerning to you guys if someone has been waiting several years for you? These months were challenging for me. 3 days after the breakup with my ex, my work contract was cut off, so I had to find a job. I got one, but I hated it, and I was very unhappy there. My only relief was finding Avery online, logging into Final Fantasy XIV with him, always by my side, always on Discord, falling asleep together. I would even leave Discord running while I was working and leave the cam on. He gave my cat a right scare by speaking to her through the speakers, LOL. But that aside, he was there for me every second of the way. Dude, it sounds like they were on like Discord like 24/7, you know? They had each other all day, every day. Eventually, I quit the job that made me feel bad and got my current job, which I love. But now, since I had to pay all my bills by myself, I struggled to pay rent and everything else. So I was forced to make the awful, super sad decision to sell my sweet, beautiful horse, Truce. Horses are expensive to keep, but it was a decision I made along with Avery, so that I could save up more money for our future life together. Yeah, Opie had a horse and they had to sell it, you know, for the future with Avery. You know, they're thinking about like kids one day and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really sad, you know. I'm sure Opie was super sad because everyone loves and adores their pets. I always wanted a horse, but they're just so expensive. Now I was working 5 to 6 days a week. I would come home dog tired and complain about it, but I knew it was for a good cause, our future. I would come home to Avery cheering me on. Atta baby, that's the spirit. Let's run some ultimates. Or go to this nice venue, we can take some G poses there. Curious, I asked why he was always online. Do you not work or something? I asked. He said, nah babe. My previous job paid me so well that I can live off those savings for a good while, so I don't need to work. I believed him. I was wrong. We continued playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I got my first UU clear with him, and then the re-clears, and then we progged T. I was loving every minute of it, even though I did not have much time to prog with my job being hectic. Yeah, so basically Opie says here, I believed him, I was wrong. So of course everyone's like, red flag, oh my god. Is he a mommy's boy? Is he a bum? What's it gonna be? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out together. Here comes the juice. We're getting there, we're getting there. I was loving every minute of it, even though I did not have much time to prog with my job being hectic. I told my friends about Avery, how he said he'd wait for me 5 years ago, and how he had made good on that promise. So meanwhile, his grandmother had passed away and left him not 1, but 2 houses IRL. He said he was willing to sell one once he moved here, so that we could look for a house together. You know what? It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Too good to be true. You gotta know something is wrong here. Avery never introduced me to any of his friends. Summer came around and I asked him if I should just fly to the US to see him. His passport was not valid and he needed a new one. His excuse was that due to COVID, there had been a delay of many months. This passport fiasco dragged on for nearly a full year. I started to doubt if he had even applied for a new passport. I googled how long it would take to get a passport on the government website, and it said it took about 12 weeks. So I started to have severe doubts. Why was this dragging on for so long? I confronted him about it, but he was adamant that he did file for a passport and that it was just delayed. Disgruntled, I pushed past it. What else was I supposed to do? I guess if he waited all those years for me, what was another few months or a year? Nothing. Nothing could beat our love, and this was so meant to be. So I went with it. I had a valid passport and the means to travel, so I offered to go to him, but he refused to let me. My heart broke. I cried so much and told him how rejected I felt. Dude, it's so sketch if he doesn't want you to come there. I told my IRL friends about this, and they all warned me. Girl, what a red flag. Screw that guy. But in my heart, I knew how amazing our connection was. It was something that my normie friends would never understand. So I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. The red flag was waving in the sunlight, bright as blood. I waved at it and then looked away, putting it out of my mind. I feel really bad for OP here because, you know, like they're just clinging on to what they know. Like they're so close to they're so close to Avery that like anything Avery says could pretty much like OP will believe it because they've known each other for like several years, and this person waited for OP for several years. Avery's excuse was that anxiety had gotten the better of him, that he had always imagined himself coming here, not me coming there. I was very heartbroken since I had sacrificed the only life I knew just to be with him. My heart ached that I had sold my horse, my strong, beautiful truce. I missed him. I tried to justify all of this to myself. Avery had a rough life and struggled with anxiety caused by a horrible childhood. If he was too anxious for me to go there, I thought, then I could wait longer. Of course I would. We had talked of marriage and children together. We had planned out our future. This is what I wanted. Once he moved here, all would be well. The perfect, ultimate gaming couple living together. He would be selling one of his houses there and buying a new house here to start our family. So I waited. I asked for more pictures because he had only sent me one in the last year, even though I was on video for him to see almost 24/7. He said he felt too anxious again because of his weight, but he did FaceTime with me a few times. I respected his feelings. Okay, so like OP explained to me that when they FaceTime, he had only certain angles with the camera to his face. And it was like sort of like a profile shot of quite close to the face. Yeah, never anything more past the face. OP never saw anything more. Never saw them walk away, nothing. Just close of the face. I respected his feelings, and I knew I would still love him, no matter what he looked like. He could be blue, and I knew I would still love him. My love ran deeper than just looks, and I told him this. I really wanted us to have a good start with proper funds, since I was now 33 and looking to start a family. He wanted this too, he said. Since we had known each other for nearly 10 years now, we felt confident about IRL being great too. To ensure a good start, I really wanted the funds to not just come from my end. I really felt so much pressure from it. So I asked him to please get a job. Please work a little extra, even if it was part-time, just to make our start in our new life together easier. He finally agreed because his funds had run a bit lower now. So he reluctantly worked part-time for about 3 months or so until he finally came over. Or so he told me. ... He came over on February 8th, 2024. Damn, this is recent! This was this year. Nearly a year since my breakup with my ex. A year of waiting on the passport. I paid for the return ticket and he promised to pay me back half. I went to the airport, excited beyond measure to pick him up. And boom, I was confronted with it. He wasn't just a bigger guy. He was morbidly obese. I think I could fit myself 3 times in him and then still have wiggle room. He could hardly keep up with me walking. I had to slow my pace to accommodate him. But I thought, so what? He may not be a looker, but this is the man that waited for me. This is the man that stood by me for a decade. This is the man I will happily call my own. And so I looked past it, reminding myself how deep our connection was and that I shouldn't be so shallow about it. So I chose not to be. Once he was here, it became apparent that everything had been a lie. Not only did he not have money saved up, he was beyond broke. To get us started, I paid for everything with the exception of some paint and 3 cheap IKEA desks he bought to help renovate our game room, which we did in the first week. He spent about 200 euros for that, but after that point, I paid for everything. I bought this man new bed sheets and pillows, and the pillow wasn't comfy for him, so after the first night, I bought him another new pillow. His luggage was lost in transit and took some days to arrive here, so I bought him new clothes. I fed him. He stayed in my house rent-free. His stay was from the 8th to the 25th of February, but both of us hoped he would not go back at all. So, he brought his PC and a monitor that shattered during transit. So he purchased a new cheaper one here for like 250 euros. And we were hoping he would get a working visa based on his bachelor's degree in IT. At night we would game and things would feel normal. I would feel happy to be with him. I was blissfully content in our online love, our shared love for Final Fantasy XIV, our conquests and ultimates and G-posing and everything else that Eorzea had to offer. But by day, I was living a nightmare, confronted with my diminishing attraction to him and conflicted because I was so hopeful that Avery was the one. Things were super stressful IRL. He wanted to get a visa here based on his IT bachelor degree. But the skills he had were not enough for the jobs that could land him the visa. It became apparent that he needed to learn 2 extra coding or programming languages. I said, oh well, then I guess you have to fly back. You can learn those, fix it, come back in a few months, and then we'll start. A bit later than planned, but hey, we looked up online how long it would take to learn those languages, and we found it would take an average of 2 to 6 months to learn them. Then he said, but it will take even longer for me. I asked, why? And he said, because as soon as I am home, I will need to work full-time to stay afloat. My funds are completely dry. I'm broke. My jaw dropped to the floor. What about the money you saved? What about the good job you had before that made it so you didn't have to work? It turned out all the money was gone. But yet again, I was not deterred. Disappointed? Yes. But I hadn't given up. After all, this was my dream man, right? So what if he doesn't have money? If he can fix it in the long run, it will be fine. After serious consideration, I offered this to him. Why don't you not fly back on the 25th? Stay here until your 3-month tourist visa runs out and use this time to study without having to pay rent. I can do that for you. I can support you and feed you, and you can just study while I work. We agreed to try it. I kept telling myself it would be fine. I feel so bad for OP. No, but literally the guy is trapped in OP's house. It's so sad. Like, what are you supposed to do if you were them? Just throw them out of your house and be like, bye. Like, figure that shit out for yourself. But like, OP's like trying to help Avery, you know, get his life up and running. Oh my god, this is so hard. Yes, kick them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we would love to, but at the same time, they've known this person and is in love with this person. So it's so hard for them to do that. In their mind, they have this person that they love, and then now they're like, but This is reality, and then this was my fantasy, and this is my reality. But I felt less and less attracted to him. I was still hurt that he didn't let me come over to him sooner. That's right. If you flew to him, you would have found out like all of this early on. But no, there's no way he wanted you to come to see him, because you would have found out the truth that he had no house. Where was he living? I don't know. We're gonna find out. I was still hurt that he didn't have his finances in order, but I was mostly still hurt that he had lied to me. One night, I just broke down crying. How could you have watched me work so hard for our future while you just sat there and did nothing? I have slaved for a year. I added, I even asked you, begged you to work a little extra. I gave you so many opportunities to tell me about your financial situation, but you straight up lied. You kept giving me a false sense of security that things were more than fine on your end. I lamented over the fact that this meant I probably would not ever have kids. I am almost 34 now, and I had told him in the year leading up to this that I couldn't wait forever and that I wanted to start a family as soon as possible. I had always dreamed of us having a family together, but now I had to wait months, maybe years, before he got his act together. Avery had always shared my views, or said so at least, on wanting to start a family with me, and now it seemed unrealistic and unreachable. I expressed all of this to him. I expressed my concern and surprise over how unfit he was, not because of aesthetics, but because if we did have kids, I did not want to be the only one physically capable of running after a toddler. Avery was useless when it came to cleanliness. He cleaned slowly and carelessly, and only if I instigated it, making me question how he had supposedly taken care of his grandmother. He had described to me so many times what good care that he took of her. But he cleaned like a bachelor or a college kid would clean, not like a homeowner or caregiver. And then there was the matter of the beanie. When he arrived here, he was wearing a beanie. The beanie stayed on that night and the next day. After 2 days or so, I asked him to remove it, but he refused. This turned out to be a battle I would not win. Oh my god. Avery refused to wash the beanie or ever take it off at all. My parents were quite curious about it and asked me questions that I could not answer. Dude, the parents even met him! Oh my god. Since I had decided to let him stay longer to study here, we carried on with our relationship. I had taken off work for his arrival, but I had to return to work, half from home and half in the office. So when I was working from home, I could see what Avery was doing about his studies, or rather, what he was not doing about it. Oh my god. It became very apparent he wasn't putting in the work I expected him to. He seemed not into it at all. In fact, I felt like he resented it, like he was being forced into it. Avery would sleep in late and roll out of bed at 11:30 a.m. in his beanie instead of getting up early to study. He would take a huge shower break at 1 p.m. to get dressed. He smelled a tad ripe in the hours leading up to that, for he had a very, very strong musk about him. I'm not trying to shame him, but I think it had to do with that beanie he refused to wash. I continued to work as usual, and he continued to slowly, ploddingly work his programming language course. And at night, we would log into Final Fantasy XIV to forget about how daunting IRL was looking right now. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Like, I can't even imagine. This is like some 90-day fiancé shit. I expressed to Avery that he wasn't putting in the effort that I would have liked to see, and since he was staying here for free, I wished he would at least study harder and show he was serious about us. In 3 weeks, he finished only 6 lessons of this online Harvard course he was taking. I'm sorry, but this ain't it, Chief. I told him that too. I told him how it came across as indifferent if he slept in so late, studied so little, and took hour-long breaks to get dressed and such. He asked me, "Can you not wake me up sooner then?" To which I exclaimed, "Hell no! You have your own phone. You are an adult. You can set your own alarm. I want a partner, not someone I have to parent or get out of bed." I was so frustrated with it all. At work, my colleagues kept asking me how life was with my gamer boyfriend, and I had to explain to them that it was not all sunshine and rainbows. This was received with some chuckles and comments like, "Bummer, guess you got catfished. A gamer dude that doesn't work? What a surprise." They sympathized with me, but still mocked me for it. I started to really doubt my judgment and was having the worst stomach aches I ever had. Okay, so OP did tell me that, like, back then when they found out the news, they were mocking them a bit, but now they're fully supportive of OP and what they had to deal with. That was just like the little thing that OP told me. Still, he would roll out of bed late and fragrant, study the bare minimum, watch me cry over the mounting stress of everything not being as I hoped, and he would do nothing, still wearing his beanie and refusing to take it off. The smell lingered in the air, and he was itching his head all the time. Whatever was happening underneath, it wasn't good, I think. I don't know, because it never came off. This damn beanie! I would find skin flakes all over the bathroom mats, clearly from him scratching his head. The entire house started to smell funny. I opened windows to air out rooms and told him to wash the beanie and to let whatever was going on underneath it just air out. He refused, or he would say, "Yeah, will do," and then never do it. I grew wary from arguing about a God's damn beanie, so I just stopped asking about it. My mom even texted me, "We are curious though, what's under the beanie?" And I'd tell her, "To be honest with you, Mom, I don't even know. He doesn't take it off." Oh my God! What is under that beanie? It's flaking up the house. I finally couldn't take it anymore, and I broke up with him. I told him how disappointing this had been for me. Not only his fitness, but also his finances. How all the hopes and dreams we had built together over the years had been crushed. How I didn't like being lied to. I expressed that he took the chance from me to possibly decide against meeting him by constantly reassuring me that my life would be great. I would have loved to have a say in it, based on an informed decision. I said I could have chosen to stand by him and motivate him to work while he was broke, or choose to not meet up at all. But he took that choice from me, promising me the world and offering me nothing in reality. I said that I couldn't believe he had not been upfront about it when I had been super honest and open about my finances. But he kept saying everything would be fine. I just couldn't believe it and found him so unreliable that I broke up with him. Yeah, dude, this is horrible. Everyone in the chat is like feeling so bad for OP. Avery commenced having a panic attack and started hyperventilating in the bathroom. I couldn't do anything to help. He came back apologizing, but still saying he thought he did everything he could have. I disagreed. He did F all in the last year while I broke my back for him. My mind was set. We are no longer together, and I want him out of my house as soon as possible. It took Avery another 3 weeks to get a ticket back. In these weeks, he would hardly speak. He'd refuse to eat some days until I told him that he really ought to. That even though the breakup sucks, he should still just eat. Come on now. Don't give me these scary vibes. I kept getting stomach aches so bad from the stress that I would wake up at night with pain that even a hot pack couldn't fix. Avery became withdrawn, only answering me in a soft voice. He would give short, "Yes," and "Okay" answers, One night he called me sweetheart, and I told him not to call me that since we had broken up, and that this made me uncomfortable, to which he rolled his eyes and uttered, "Wow." I got upset. "What do you mean, wow? We are not together. At least respect my decision." Then he would retreat, his tail between his legs, back to withdrawn and distant. The vibes in the house became so ominous that I half expected him to hurt either himself or me, and I felt uncomfortable in my own home. He assured me that he wasn't going to do anything funny and promised to take better care of himself. Final Fantasy XIV was the only place that felt normal. We could still game together, not as lovey-dovey as we had before, but progging limit cut together takes your mind elsewhere, so it was a nice distraction for us both. Well, for me, since he had cleared already. Finally, the last night arrived, and to those wondering about the beanie, not once did I see what lurked underneath. He just sat there scratching his head, refusing to wash it. Ew. On the final night before he flew back, we had dinner at my parents' house. They were very nice to him, saying, "We are sorry it didn't work out, but we wish you all the best." And they handed him 200 euros just so he wouldn't have to fly home broke as hell. They were so kind. Dude, your parents are freaking sweethearts. They actually watched OP go through that stuff. Oh my god. When we got back home, he packed his bags and found out that the zipper of his traveling bag was so broken. It completely derailed. It would be impossible to fly his PC and his new monitor back to the US like that. So in the dead of the night, I drove back to my parents, who donated a sturdy big Samsonite suitcase so he could fly all his stuff back. The monitor did not fit, but I said I would buy it off him so he could leave that here and get a new one at home. The next day, I dropped him off, gave him a hug, and said, "Kick some ass. Still try and improve for your own sake too. Stick to the studies, and one day you'll have a fine job again." And then I left. It wasn't even 30 minutes into the drive home, and he called me. "Is there an issue?" I asked. He just said, "No. I'm just so sad and alone and stressed out, and I want to try harder and be a better boyfriend to you. Someone you deserve. You are my best friend, my forever duo." I had to remind him we had broken up and that I was still driving and needed my phone's GPS. I said I'd text when I got home. And here the plot thickens. At home, his friend, let's call him Tucker, was the only one of his friends that I knew. I had met Tucker about 4 months prior, and we all played Dungeons and Dragons together. Tucker asked me how it all went, and if Avery was going home. I told him he was. I told Tucker why we had broken up, and as I told him this, I mentioned about the ticket that I had bought him. "I guess I won't see that money back. Oh well." To which Tucker said, "I'm sorry? The ticket you paid for? But I was the one that paid for that. That was me." I said, "Huh?" And we quickly exchanged screenshots and our proof of payment. Tucker showed me that he had wired $2,000 to Avery. $2,000. He said Avery wanted the money so he could fly to me. He said he wanted to make a fresh start in life and that this was it. This was his future. Tucker said, "I saw how depressed he was after his breakup with Miranda, so I wanted him to have a good life and gave him the money." I could not believe my eyes. "Miranda?" I asked. "Who's Miranda?" "Oh, you didn't know? He was in a 2-year-long relationship with Miranda. They broke up last summer. That was when he wouldn't let me fly out to him. How he had said he had anxiety and that he had wanted to come to me." More lies. After chatting with Tucker more, I found out Avery had cheated on me during our long-distance relationship. He was still with Miranda, and he wrote those beautiful vows to me for our eternal bonding ceremony. The faithful commitment he promised was nothing but a joke, and apparently before Miranda, there was some girl named Eden. The whole time he had told me he never dated a single soul besides me because I was the one. Oh my god, it gets even like how does it get this bad? It's getting worse and worse and worse. I also found out, talking to Tucker, that Avery didn't own his house. It actually belonged to his friend Jasper, but Avery had told me Jasper was just his roommate. That is Jasper's house, Tucker told me. Avery doesn't even own a house, LOL. Before he dated Miranda, he was dating Eden. I had never even heard of your existence until we met 4 months ago. The deceit was unreal. This explained why he had never introduced me to any of his friends, while I had introduced him to mine. He couldn't have introduced me, or the truth would come out about dating Miranda and Eden, cheating on me, and lying about owning property. Meanwhile, Avery was still texting me all these sad messages, like how stressed he was flying back, how he felt like he had no reason to live without our relationship, how hard it would be to work for something if his sole reason to work for something was no longer there. He kept begging me to take him back, to not leave him, how he had nobody. He said, "Oh, gotta use airplane mode, I've boarded," but then, "Oh, guess not, I can keep texting." So I confronted him while he was in the air. I said, "I know you've been with Miranda, and I know you've been with another girl, Eden, before that. And I know that Tucker gave you $2,000, $2,000. You told," this is all in caps now, $2,000, and you told me you had nothing. I paid for all the food for 2 months. Avery told me he had no money though, and sent me a picture of his account balance, $34.56. How on earth could you fly across the world with $34 to your name? And where did the money go? He was unable to provide answers, so I blocked him. I blocked him everywhere. Then he made at least 5 new accounts and sent friend invites, trying to get me to talk to him again. He tried calling me on every single group chat we had ever been in. Apparently, when you're blocked, you can still call people that you share a group chat with, as it initiates a group call. I left the groups one by one. Tucker was furious too, and also blocked him everywhere. But something inside me couldn't let go, and I clicked on the blocked messages to see what he said. "Nobody knows me like you do. I have no friends. Please don't leave me alone. I am so effing scared. Please. Nobody knows me like you do." To which I could not help but reply, "Then nobody knows you at all because all you did was lie to me." Oh my god. I think we all need to stretch. This is a wild freaking story. So it's surreal. Yeah. Oh my god. Everyone's invested. I know. You can totally see he's still trying to win back OP. Like trying to make OP feel bad. Like, oh my god. This person doesn't understand reality. They're living in some fantasy world where his dream is to find a girl to pay for everything for him. He wanted to manipulate some girl on the internet in Final Fantasy XIV or in any video game for like years, until he thought they were in a sweet spot where he was like, yes, I'm gonna come over there now. Like, now is the time I can come over and meet them, and I think this person will take care of me for the rest of my life because they love me. I think that was his thought process. But anyway, we can talk more about it later. He made me feel so bad. He was really going through hell, describing to me how horrible the flight was and how he desperately wanted me to chat with him. He asked me, "Please, can we still game together? Please, can we keep the houses together?" And all these houses were in his name. He was mainly asking me to stay with him, but I said, "Do with them as you please, because I no longer care. I am done." But he continued to gnaw at my resolve. "Can we please stay bonded? What about all the grinds we haven't finished, like all the shared fates? We are so close to finishing them. Can we please still do those? Please? Please be my friend," he continued to beg. "You are my best friend. Please." Lots of pleases. Oh my god. Even though he messed up and lied for a decade, deceived me and conned money out of his friend Tucker that I never saw any of, I felt sorry for him. So I finally relented and said, I'll be a bystander just from here in this dumb group chat, not as a Discord friend. I don't want to game together. I can't. It hurts too much. But if this is what you need to survive, to still have one person talking to you, then I can do that, but from here, on my terms, in this group chat. Oh, look at the chat. Opie, no! No! The sea of no's in the chat right now. It's good, you know, Opie can see this. Everything you say in chat, Opie can read it. For a whole day, he kept trying to guilt trip me into playing with him again. We've duoed everything, all the grinds, all the ultimates. I know how much you put into the houses too. You were there by my side doing most of the work. You worked so hard on them too, and I want to see you succeed in that next ultimate. I want to make more memories together. I just couldn't take it and blocked him completely. I am terrified to see if he logs in and uses the ring from the eternal bonding to stalk me. But even if he does, I take solace in knowing that the blacklist options will be more detailed when 7.0 launches. True. My heart is torn, as I've not just lost my boyfriend, but I lost my dreams IRL of being in a family. I lost my duo partner with whom I did literally everything. I lost it all. When I looked around my house, it was filled with pictures of our G-pose screenshots that I had framed and hung on the walls. Oh my god. So haunting now, you know? His presence still lingers in my house and it hurts like hell. I am so angry. I do not mourn the relationship because this would have never worked out. But I mourn over the loss of my duo. I mourn over the wasted time. I mourn over the damage it has done to my faith in people. And it messed me up. Oh my god, it would mess anyone up. No, this is why I felt like, this is what I said, like, this is so heavy. Like, after I read the story, I felt so bad for Opie because of the time they invested towards this person, and they can't get that time back. I need to hear an interview with this OP. Oh, chat wants an interview with the OP. OP, you hear that? Last night, I tried to PF an UU reclear, and I got so anxious that I couldn't do it. I kept dying to stupid stuff. The anxiety I feel doing any kind of content without him there is unreal. The darkness persists, but so will I, and thus I will try to carry on, picking up the pieces, and move on from the incredible burden of lies spanning 10 years. I am hoping to make some new friends for Dawn Trail so that I may once again walk free. Wish me luck as I try to rebuild my Final Fantasy XIV life without my forever duo. In the aftermath, I ended up connecting with Jasper, the owner of the house that Avery had pretended to own. Jasper, of course, had never heard of me. Avery had lied to him too. When Avery came over to visit me, he had actually told Jasper that he was going to visit his dad in the next state over for a week. After 3 weeks passed, Jasper called Avery's dad to ask if everything was okay. Avery's dad said, "I haven't spoken to Avery for a couple of months." Jasper contacted another friend, Maddie, and found out that Avery had lied to Maddie, telling her that his grandmother was dying and he needed a ride to the airport. So Maddie had unknowingly driven Avery to the airport so that he could come visit me, thinking she was taking him to see his ailing grandmother. Dude, this guy just lives in lies, like, for everything. No one knows anything. None of these people knew that I even existed. Jasper told me Avery never paid anything to him for rent for the last 2 years. Oh my god, for the last 2 years. You know, when he was saying, yeah, I had a job that paid me well, he was living with Jasper for 2 years for free. When he came back to the US, Avery had begged Jasper to let him stay there again. Jasper told him no and paid for a plane ticket for him to go stay with his dad. He didn't want Avery in his house anymore, and Avery's grandmother is alive and well. Avery's dad has apparently locked up his PC and told him to go out and get a job, or else he is getting him a tent and kicking him out. This explains why Avery has not been online yet. Probably still not online till this day. Avery had even lied to me about having a driver's license. He claimed he did have one, but that he didn't know how to drive a gear shift. And since I had a stick, I did the driving. Jasper told me that Avery doesn't have a license or a car. Jasper had offered to pay for Avery's license and let him use one of his cars for work, as long as Avery got a job. But Avery never did during the whole 2 years that he stayed in Jasper's house. He also had no bachelor's degree in IT. What? So that was a lie? So he didn't even have a bachelor's degree. Okay. I do hope that Avery will pick up the pieces of his life and stop manipulating and using people. He didn't deserve all these great friends that gave him money, cars to drive, and a place to live. And I gave him my heart. The end. What am I surprised about? I know, but like he literally tried to take a course for like IT and he didn't even have the degree. So it's like, huh? You're just like literally wasting his own time. Like, epilogue. For those of you who are wondering about my horse, I am able to visit him from time to time because I sold truce to someone I knew. So there is that comfort. Oh my God, thank God. Like, you know, I was so sad that they also, you know, everyone in chat also were like, dude, that's so horrible losing a pet, because, you know, pets are like family. So at least their horse is with a friend and they can still visit their horse, right? And also, if you're watching this on your phone, Avery, please stop sending me messages. It is time to move on. Thank you for listening. Avery is probably figuring out what to do so he could still play Final Fantasy XIV again one day. I'm telling you, yeah, this was the heaviest story ever. 10 years of knowing someone online, thinking they were the one for you, falling for the lies, the manipulation. Oh my God. Like, okay, I talked a bit with OP, and OP told me, this is OP speaking. They were like, why did he come over to see me? Wouldn't it just make more sense if he just stayed in America and just like played it out even longer? And I said, I think he felt like he got you in a very sweet spot, and that he was hoping that when he saw you in person that you were so in love with him after, you know, several years at that point, that you were just going to like willingly take him in and do and you nearly did, right? Like almost. Except he just had too many red flags. Like OP tried everything. Yeah, he wanted a sugar mama. He didn't want to do shit. Like, you can't work with that. Like, he didn't wash his beanie. He can't clean up after himself or take care of himself. He didn't even want to get a job. What can you do with this person? It's like you'd be looking after a child. And, you know, Opie didn't want that. They wanted a partner who would be like an adult just like them and do stuff for their future. Yeah, he didn't want to finish school. He just wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV all day, every day, while OP worked her ass off. Yeah, see, like, now we know why he has so much money, why he's cleared Ultimate so many times and has done everything in the game. This guy has all the free time to put into Final Fantasy XIV. So, oh my God, I really hope OP finds the man she deserves. Yeah, I really hope you do, man. But give yourself the space that you need, because, like, I don't even know how long it would take someone to get over something like this. This is crazy. How can you trust anyone anymore after that? There are so many people out there that, like, can manipulate people online like that because they have been doing it for years. Avery's job was legit tricking people online, even to his own friends, right? In person, he was living a lie. I can ask OP if they want to be interviewed. Oh my God, now it's happening. This is not a drill. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord. discord.gg/Patra.